Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Brandon Cobb, and today I've got Oliver Graf on the show. He's a four-time Inc. 500 entrepreneur, co-founder and president of Big Block Realty. Guys, they did over $5 billion in sales during the COVID heydays. I want to find out how he grew his agent business to doing over $5 billion in sales. He's also the host of the Founders Club podcast. It's a top podcast. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. He's also co-founder of The Closing Table. It's a high-level real estate mastermind. So go check that guy out as well. And he is a husband and father of two awesome sons and a dedicated surfer and artist. Oliver, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you, man. Excited to be on.
Yeah, it was funny because I was looking at your media kit and you've grown a business in what I would consider one of the most competitive fields, which is the real estate agent business. So you've grown a brokerage and you've done it. I think I saw a statistic somewhere that here in Nashville, which is where I live, that there are actually more real estate agent licenses than homes. So what better to have you come on and talk about how you grew your business in one of probably I would consider the most competitive environments that exist. So definitely want to talk with that about you today. And I know you're kind of like a wizard with setting up like affiliate partnerships and the bolt-on business that have like ancillary services to like what you're doing. And we're doing some stuff in that space right now. So we're going to talk about that as well. For those that don't know who you are, what's your story?
The quick overview, and again, thanks for having me on. Quick overview is that we've built one of the top independent brokerages in the country. We then, about a year ago, merged in with a national brand called LPT. Since then, we've become one of the top mega teams in the country. And right now, we're working on expanding and then also, like you mentioned, packaging up other businesses that go with our core offering to help service our agents and clients and ultimately drive the per transaction income up on our side as well.
Yeah, 5 billion in real estate transaction. That is a huge, huge number. I have to ask you, it's very competitive, and there's no way to grow in a competitive environment unless you have an edge. You've got to figure out how to differentiate your business. How did you guys do that?
Yeah, so totally agree with that. For us, it came down to two things really. Like one was the business model, and two was our philosophy on the business itself. I got my real estate license, I think in 2006, so it's been a long time. And one of the first things I noticed is that it's just a very antiquated industry. Everything that is done has been done the same way for, you know, tens, if not hundreds of years. Um, and obviously, people are integrating technology and stuff like that, but it's still really kind of an old school business. Um, so we kind of looked at like how can we add more value, update things to the future, leverage current softwares. Now we're really getting into like AI, things like that. But one was just the business model. Our business model when we first started Big Block was 100% commission model. So it was kind of new at the time. We were one of the only ones that were offering it. There's more now, but at the time it was really different. And so that was a benefit and a curse because being different, now you've got to sell something that's different. People are like kind of looking at you skeptical, things like that. Um, but we really believed that we could add more value than the traditional brokerages. A lot of the traditional brokerages at the time, they were taking what we thought was really large splits, especially considering most agents, especially agents like myself and my business partner Sam. We were really like entrepreneurial. We were very independent. We didn't want to do mandatory meetings and floor time and all the different things that most big box brokerages were doing. And we certainly didn't want to give up, 40, 50% of our commission when we were self-generating most of our business anyways. So we kind of thought, let's go the 100% commission route. And then there were some other kind of flat fee-based brokerages at the time, but they were very much like rent a broker, like don't call us, we'll call you, no support, no training, no anything. It was very, you're kind of out on an island sort of a thing. And so we wanted to blend those two worlds of being able to offer a high split and really maximize the value for the agent while still offering support. Like we had an agent concierge program, we had a broker support hotline, we had regular trainings on things that actually worked. Like a lot of training in real estate today, again, is just like the dusty old stuff. And some of it still works, prospecting, things like that. But there's so many new advanced ways, and we were really good at like leveraging the internet, leveraging social media, and kind of being able to do all these more cutting edge things at the time. And so that allowed us to kind of garner a lot of attention. And then with that and the 100% and the maximum value kind of philosophy, that's what allowed us to grow really fast at the beginning.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, interesting. So yeah, you've been in the game, I think since 2003. Did I hear that right? So you got like 23
Yeah,
years
yeah. I
of
started in
experience growing.
mortgages in 2003, and then we started Big Block in late 2010, 2011, somewhere around
Mhm.
there.
So you mentioned these bolt-on businesses where, and it sounds this is interesting because we're doing some similar stuff actually, where we've noticed there's some ancillary businesses that are really complementary to some of the other things that we're doing. And I know that you've been successful in doing this bolt-on business kind of strategy, and or setting up the affiliate partnership stuff. So let's talk about that. I'm sure those are two different things. So talk to us a little bit about the bolt-on business, how the bolt-on business strategy, what it is, how you implemented it. I'd be curious to hear some like real life examples of where it worked for you guys.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. So, we've always kind of looked at our business like a flywheel. And according to the National Association of Realtors, there's 83 other businesses that touch a real estate transaction. And there's kind of, if you wrote them all on a list, you could segment those into like before the transaction, during the transaction, and after the transaction. And throughout there, there's lots of opportunities where you can either create an affiliate relationship with a company, or you can partner with a company or JV, or if it really makes sense, you can start your own company. And I'm happy to give you some examples of that. Like once we got to a certain size, closing a certain number of transactions, we were noticing a lot of agents, like to work with a transaction coordinator, and they are people that basically handle all the paperwork on the backside for an agent, make sure they stay on time for deadlines and all the important things, and just kind of like they're almost like an executive assistant for realtors. And so we just noticed that a lot of, our agents were using transaction coordinators. And so we decided to start our own transaction coordinating company to bolt on to our existing business. And now we're able to offer a discount to our agents. So they're happy. The TCs, they know our systems inside and out. So they're more efficient. Everything's faster. It improves the process. And then ultimately, the end buyers and sellers are happy because it kind of streamlines the process, moves things along faster, and it just kind of is a win-win-win for everybody. And then that now turns into an additional profit center for us because, obviously the agents are closing transactions. We can earn that additional revenue on the transaction coordinating side along with it. So I would encourage anyone listening, think about your business in different ways on where you can bolt these things on. And some are really simple, right? Like there's another one called Mailbox Power. We send out a lot of direct mail. And so there's a company called Mailbox Power that has an affiliate program where basically we use it as customers, and because we use it as customers, a lot of people ask us when they receive our mail pieces, like, hey, where did you send this? Or our agents are like, hey, these are great. I'd like to send these to my farm, different things like that. And so that's just like a straight affiliate program where if we recommend it and the person signs up, we get a portion of the income that's generated on that on the backside.
Interesting. So when do you make the decision to acquire the business and bolt it on versus just set up an affiliate? relationship?
Yeah, great question. So it really comes down to volume, right? Like we didn't start the transaction coordinating company till we were closing probably 60 to 80 deals a month. And so at that point in time, it really became a no-brainer because if even at like a 10 to 20% capture rate, that was still going to be like 10 deals a month. At that number, it kind of made sense, based on the economics of hiring the transaction coordinator and doing all the things on the back end. Whereas if it's just a simple affiliate program, it doesn't really matter. You can send them one customer a month and you'll get paid. So it really just depends on the volume, um, on how we look at that. Like in most cases, it doesn't make sense to start another business, right? Unless you're really doing a lot of volume. Like on the investor side, I know a lot of investors that we've worked with over the years that now have bolted on the realtor piece, right? Because they're out there, they're looking at deals every day, they're making their investor offers that are generally lower than retail. And so a lot of times they can't get their price, and so instead of just saying, okay, great, it was nice talking to you, let us know if anything changes, they can say, hey, well, let's help you list it and help you get full market value. It's not going to be as quick as taking our all cash offer today, but at least we can help you get the property sold and help you achieve your goals. And now they've got another pathway as opposed to just the investor route. Now they're able to earn additional revenue on the realtor side of things.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, and because if you're wholesaling or house flipping and looking for that distress, there's a specific customer you want to help there, and you're going to
Yep.
attract those people that don't need a fast sell, and their house doesn't need a whole lot of work. They just want to, offer and they can list it.
They just want to
So that
sell.
makes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's
And
interesting.
then to take it a step further, like at the beginning, you don't even need to do the transactions, right? Just get your real estate license and collect a referral fee. You can get a 25% referral fee agent to agent, just by having your real estate license. So that to me is like a total no-brainer for any investor.
What are some other affiliate programs that agents can set up?
Yeah, so some simple ones right off the bat, like moving. Moving's a really easy one. Every
Moving
listing you
companies?
get, the customer's gonna move. So you have a built-in client base, and there's lots of companies like we don't, we have no interest in like starting a moving company and buying trucks and doing all that. But there are
Yeah.
plenty of moving companies that will pay you a fee in order to refer them business. So that's another easy one. You can just set up moving. Another one is storage. Like a lot of times people are wanting to store things, or if they're buying a house and maybe they're not ready to move in, they're kind of in something temporary. Storage is a great option. And then what it does is it's not really all just about, increasing your margins, but it really allows you to add more value to the transaction, right? If I'm not just a realtor or just an investor,
Yeah.
I'm now your real estate concierge, where if you call me if you need a loan, you call me if you need to move, you call me if you need storage, you call me for basically anything related to real estate. Now I'm able to serve at a higher level, which in turn helps me do more deals and generate more happy customers. More happy customers means more referrals, and it just kind of has a nice trickle on effect.
Yeah, I know it's about value add too, because hey, look, you're kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of the needs of your client, and it wins because a lot of these companies will probably work with your client and give them a discount, right? They're like, hey,
Yep.
I can have a special promo where if they called me out of the blue, they're going to pay 10% more than if they'd gone through you, and you get that. They want to do volume. Businesses want to do volume at the end of the day. They want repeat customers. They want affiliates that are generating cash flow just consistently for them. Huh. Very, very interesting. I
And
mean, what
another
kind
easy
of,
one, and back
yeah,
to breaking the transactions into three separate chunks: before, during, and after. Like one for before would be like a listing photographer or a drone photographer. A lot of people, when they sell their houses, they want the drone photography and all that. And I know you
right.
deal in a lot of like vacant land, things like that. Like it's great to have those aerial shots. And so if you can just work out with a drone photographer, like, hey, let me get 20% of every deal I send you. Now again, you've opened up a new profit center. You're helping the clients win because they're getting elevated photography experience, and the photographers obviously happy because they're getting more business from a new source.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost an endless amount of vendors when you really start thinking about it.
100%. Yeah, you could really go deep. Yeah, I'll give you another one because this is one of the things we really like. Is it's not even just about like bolting on profit centers. You can do this with like expanding your influence. So, for example, if you want to break into a market, let's say Nashville, which I believe is where you're from, right? Let's say you wanted to be the go-to real estate person for Nashville. You, there's already Instagram pages, Facebook groups, YouTube channels, all of these things already exist. And a lot of them were created 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The people that run them have long moved on. They don't care anymore. And so you can buy or even just take over these groups for very little money. And they're just happy to, have someone that wants to take over and keep posting and keep it fresh. And so there's opportunities where you can get in there on all these different media sources that again help you grow your brand, generate leads, become more of an authority in a certain market. There's lots of ways to do that, even with zero money out of pocket, if you structure the deals the right way, to where now you're adding businesses and profit centers and you're adding marketing channels on the front end to kind of become a permanent source of new leads.
Okay, can you go into that a little bit more? Because I've heard of this too, where I think you said like Facebook pages or Instagram pages or groups or something that the owners kind of
Yeah.
abandoned. No one's doing
Yep.
anything in them anymore. And then you come in and kind of rebrand it because you're like, hey, that's my target audience that's in these groups. And you're able to go in and just start posting your content and rebranding the group towards your brand and you.
Yep.
Speak that a little bit, like maybe in a time that you did this successfully.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, I'll use Nashville again as an example. We've done this in our local market as well, but um, let's say you found a Nashville community group, right? Like all things Nashville. And you notice it's got, let's say, 10,000 people in it, but there's not really a lot of new posting, there's not a lot of engagement. Um, you can come in or even you can niche down, right? So if it's not like I would say go general, but let's say you're a cigar smoker or a wine drinker, you could get the Nashville cigar group, or the Nashville wine community, any of those types of things, right? So there's groups for all this stuff that already exist. You can go in and just message the admin, hey, I noticed that um, this group isn't really active. I'm super passionate about Nashville. I'm super passionate about cigars, whatever it is. And I would like to either become an admin or if you're interested in selling, I'd be interested in buying the group off of you. Most of the time when you say that, they're going to reach back out like, oh, well, how much will you give me? And you could get these things like ridiculously cheap. Like a few $100 will probably get you most of these, unless it's like a really big active group. But for most of these, 200, 500, something like that, you could pick these up all day.
Hmm.
And then you could even do it zero out of pocket. This is something we've done. We said, look, this was one that was more expensive. We paid, I think, 2,500 for this one, but we said, hey, let's get it for zero down, and we'll give you the first $2,500 in profit that we make from the group. So
Hmm.
now it was like we could acquire the group, zero out of pocket. We could start posting, building our brand, and then the first 2,500 bucks we paid to that person. They're happy, we're happy, and now the community is active and growing again. Um, and then a couple other things like you would say, just change the description. Do you love Nashville? Join the group today. Brought to you by your friends at Big Block Realty, or insert company name here, right? So that it's obvious that it's branded. And then the last thing you want to do is go in there and start spamming the group. Like you
Yeah.
really have to be excited about this group. Like this works really good in like farm areas too, like neighborhood specific groups. So if there was like a really hot neighborhood in Nashville, I would try to find a group around that and then really use that to penetrate in. But it really, like I said, it works for everything. Like, if you want general contractors, get a general contractors group. If you want land deals, get a land deals group. Like this literally works for pretty much anything. And then once you take over the group, you start posting once a day. You can hire a VA to do this, or you can do it with AI now pretty easily and very cost effective. And now you're becoming, the go-to person in whatever the niche is. If you have a bunch of people that love wine and love your group and you're in front of them constantly and they know you're in real estate, well, when that time comes, it's a good chance they're going to reach out to you because you've already built that, rapport and credibility way before the transaction even started.
So are you going after stuff like, I'm just trying to think this through the lens of like a real estate agent and then translating it to kind of what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you're a real estate agent, I mean, would you want to? Are you going after groups that have like the same audience but a different genre? So, for example, like you mentioned cigars or wine, that has nothing to do with being a real estate agent. But obviously the people in those groups may need a real estate agent at some point.
Yeah.
So like is it ancillary? Is it like off um is it a group that's in like a different business but same customer?
Yeah, so good question. Let me clarify that a little bit. I think what's most important is that you are passionate about it, right? Like if you're a car guy or gal, then maybe I'm in San Diego, maybe I want the San Diego Car Club, right? Because one, I'm passionate about it, so I'm going to be excited about engaging in the group. And then that's how the real estate deals come out. Or if I'm a mom, right? I join the mom group and I find a mom group to take over. That's why I gave that cigar analogy because um, if you become the go-to cigar person because you one, love cigars and two, live in that market, it's a real easy way to transition people over as you're talking to me about cigars. Oh, by the way, what are you investing in these days? Oh, if I had a deal that matched that, would you be interested? Kind of a thing. And just it's a real casual way to generate conversations. And then to bolt onto this, we're really big on like event-based marketing. We really believe that like getting people together is a great way to not only sell one as opposed to one to one, now you're one to many, but now you're also becoming an authority, you're increasing your credibility. So let's say I did a wine tasting event in San Diego for my wine tasting group. And now I'm putting my big block banners and stuff all over the place. I'm getting those people on my email list when they sign in to register. And then that's how you're able to kind of bridge that gap. But it only works if you're passionate about it or it's your local market.
Interesting. I see. So yeah, it doesn't have to be like real estate agent related because a lot of what they, like we're involved in a lot of different groups that have like our target audience members, right? Like we run a coaching company, and so there's a lot of land flipping groups out there, or new construction groups, and we know a lot of those clients like eventually want to do larger developments, right? Land flippers eventually want to move up, and they want to start doing big developments, or it's a builder that wants to scale their new construction business, right? And they need to go after swaths of land where they can do much larger developments like what we do at HBG Capital, the type of projects that we're doing. And so we're trying to like go into the groups, add value and just really be a resource for those that are asking the questions around those particular subjects. So it's interesting though, because I didn't think about trying and going and like buying some of the groups that maybe have a large following but like aren't active anymore. That's a very interesting approach.
Yeah, it's huge. Everybody's sleeping on that. Like, it's such a big opportunity. And like I said, it's not just Facebook groups. There's YouTube channels, TikTok accounts, Instagram accounts, all of this stuff that people built up and then lost interest or got out of the business or whatever it is. And that's a perfect opportunity rather than trying to start that from scratch, go in and take one over that already has an audience, already has engagement. Um, so yeah, let's do one for you. Like what do you feel like would be a good media source for your business?
Oh, it's interesting. So for the capital raising um company, yeah, this is interesting. So what I've noticed is, like, I'm very passionate about steak. I love Wagyu and Australian Wagyu. Like, I love the bouginess, right? And there's actually a Facebook group that I'm part of, and like I buy a lot from it. And but like all of my target, avatars, right, accredited investors, people with money, they're all part of that group because I'm part of that group, right? We're all like talking about steak and doing steak stuff, and I'm like, and then like this is the expensive bougie stuff, right? Like it's very unique products that you can't get anywhere else. Of course, the owner of that group, like, that's his business, that's his baby. I know he's not going to sell it, and it's all meat related, and you can't spam or talk about anything other than steak related stuff there. So like I've seen this before, but I've never thought to go and be like, huh. I wonder if there's another group out there that's been abandoned that's the same thing. So that I would pick that particular topic probably
Love
for
that.
capital raising. For our coaching company that teaches like land development and land entitlement, it would probably be, one of those other land group maybe that has been abandoned. And because there's so many, like when I was going to figure out what groups I could go add value to, oh my God, there's so many that have been abandoned, so many. And they've become just like advertising channels for people to just post their listings, their
Yeah.
land listings. And I'm
Yep.
like, this is a dead group, but some of them have a lot of
Yep.
members. So those
Yep.
two are what I would probably pick.
So let's go down the raising capital route because I think that's really big for all of us in the real estate business that are trying to do deals. We all want to raise more money so we can use other people's money to go do more deals. Um, so I would pick anything related to real estate investing. For your case, I don't know if it's mainly local or if it's national, but local is always good because again, then you can piggyback the event piece on. So I would go in, I would find any groups related to real estate investing, land investing, wholesaling, any of those types of things, and then go in, acquire the group, start waking it up, right? The best way to wake it up is start just posting questions, right? Like uh, literally ask Chat GPT. I need 100 questions for this land investing Facebook group. It'll just spit them out. You just post one a day and let the engagement start to build. Um, and then, after 30, 60, 90 days, then you can host a steak dinner for the Nashville Real Estate Association or whatever the group is called. And now you're able to, and maybe make it like an invite only, must qualify type thing. So they fill out a survey. Hey, if you're interested in coming to our Wagyu tasting for the Nashville Real Estate Club, um, fill out this quick form. That way you'll be able to see if they're accredited investors, if they're, because you don't want to have people that aren't qualified in on those types of things. But then make it a cool experience. And even if you only get 8 to 10 people to show up to a nice steak dinner, those are people in your market that are qualified, that are interested in what you have to offer. And now all of a sudden, you've kind of connected all the dots.
That's very interesting. Yeah, it's going you're making it real too by doing some type of event to like get people there. And I think that in the age of AI and working from home and automations, like that human to human interaction, those types of people who have that skill set to be able to do what you just said, which is really, it's creating your own little community. Like, you're
Yep.
creating community. I think that's
Yeah.
going to be like invaluable. Very, very cool. I'm going to go on a tangent a little bit because I want to ask you this question because we're kind of running out of time. You've interviewed some amazing people. I looked at the list of people that have been on there. Kim McElroy and Grant Cardone and tons of other really big names. Like, what like out of all the interviews that you've done on your show with these big names, like, what stood out to you the most? Like, what advice or something that you learned that maybe resonated from whoever comes to mind?
Yeah. So Yeah, I've been really lucky to interview a lot of top people, the Grant Cardones, the Ryan Serhants, Robert Kiyosaki's, all those types. And I think one of my big takeaways is that these are all just regular people like you and I, and they are not superpower. They're not super talented, but they really lock in on a niche, on a business, really understand everything, and then kind of like burn the boats and go all in on it. Like they're not trying to do 20 different things. They're not chasing shiny red objects, which a lot of us as entrepreneurs can do sometimes, but they're really just locked in, focused, and committed to going to the next level.
I love it. It just I think I've heard Hormozy call it the woman in the red dress and the squirrel shiny object syndrome. Yeah, just basically getting distracted, it sounds like, is what keeps a lot of people from getting there.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. Oliver, if people want to learn more about you, companies, where can they go?
Yeah, you can check me out right here, Oliver at Oliver Graf 360. That's basically all my social media handles. And then the name of the podcast is called Founders Club. You can just Google Founders Club podcast and you'll find us.
Awesome, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. And if you're listening to this, if you got value from Oliver today, do us a favor. Share this episode with friends and family. Like us. We will see you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks again, Brandon. And for those that do reach out, I love answering questions. I actually respond to all my messages, so feel free to reach out.